welcome. Today we have a very distinguished guest with us, Mr. Sandeep Mishra. He is postgraduate in computer application and founded a software company. That's not all. He joined IIM Ahmedabad as research fellow and founded CCI, Conservation Consortium India. Today, he is MD and CEO of Greenstem Consulting Private Limited. Along with this, he is a very passionate wildlife photographer and environment consultant to Government of India. So, a very warm welcome to you, Mr. Sandeep, a man with multiple hats.
Good morning, Jyoti, and all of those who are listening to this record.
So, very $1 million question to you, Mr. Sandeep. From software company to a environment consultant, what inspired you?
Okay, it is not the right direction actually. That I didn't become environmental consultant by chance. By choice, but by chance.
Okay.
So my personal interest was into tourism based on historical events. That was my personal interest and passion. So when I started the software company, that was like kind of a ladder to arrange capital for the venture that I'm actually passionate about. But while getting into tourism or while trying to figure out what can be done for tourism, because when I thought about tourism alongside historical events or historical periods, obviously you have to roam around natural areas, tribal areas, or something which is out of city areas, city limits, urban limits. So I can say that I was virtually dragged into the field of environment and conservation when I moved around to see what is happening or what is in tourism sector. I came to know about multiple things our environment and forest and wildlife. So somehow with initial kind of small social activities, social work, I almost got dragged into it. So I didn't actually aspire to become an environmentalist. I have been forced to become an environmentalist.
But Mr. Sandeep, believe me, this is the most innovative profession that I have ever heard. ऐसे तो environment consultant मतलब environment के लिए तो हम बहुत सारे NGOs चलते हैं, but like such a innovative idea, such a innovative profession मैंने आज तक मेरे पूरे career में नहीं सुना है. So that's a most wonderful profession that you have chosen, and it cannot be a by chance when I cannot believe this.
Initially, I told you that initially it was by chance. But later on, when I moved on from the software field to this conservation field, that was by chance. But right now, whatever I am working on, that is not by chance. That is purely by choice.
But this is, as I said, I really love this profession. So my next question is, if garden on the roof doesn't make library green, then what does, in your opinion?
It all boils down. See, when we talk about a library, especially a school or college library or educational institution library, I'm not referring to the libraries that are, kind of city libraries or municipality libraries. They're more, they're basically not curriculum oriented. They're mostly like open-ended libraries. But when we look at school and college or university libraries, mostly I have found that they're very much curriculum oriented.
Correct.
So when we look at whether keeping books are sufficient to teach students, no. It doesn't chemistry or whether it is literature. The library can only provide or facilitate students with some resources. And the planning of keeping different kind of resources so that students show interest and interest in the subject as well as interest in learning further, exploring further beyond curriculum. Those are the things that are going to help any library achieve any kind of interest parameters, be it environment, be it any other subject.
Okay. See, as far as I understand, the libraries, the school library that we used to study, were only confined to resources that you are talking about. That we had like books, we had books on different subjects. That's all. But today the environment is totally changing. Now library has started becoming a very active education center in school, in most of the schools today. Now we have different activities going around the school library. For example, it can be an author visit, it can be an like illustrator visit or anything. So can you suggest some good activities that revolves around environment uh, conservation?
As per my understanding, I would divide what you are saying is absolutely right, but that is not the scenario with all the libraries.
Mm.
That is the scenario with some specific schools or colleges or institutions.
Mm.
When I mentioned about the library situation, I was generalizing the scenario in the country.
Mm.
So I would segment, I would put into three different segments these library institutions, two, 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 three segments. Like one is the library which you are referring to, where they organize different kind of events. They bring in authors. They try to arrange for reading sessions. They have multiple resources beyond curriculum. So that is one segment.
Mm.
There is another segment of library institutions which can do this, but they are not doing it.
Mm.
And the third segment is where there is absolutely, when we look at state or the central government schools or colleges,
Mm.
where there is almost like the library is kind of a lending textbook facility, not beyond anything of that. So they basically have multiple textbooks. People, I mean, the children just borrow textbooks
Mm.
who probably cannot afford it or something like that. So there are three different types of libraries, as of my experience is concerned.
Mm.
The first kind of library that you are referring to, where people are open to organize events, they are willing to, they have been doing it. Uh, the title that you suggested is that,
If garden on the roof
what was the
doesn't make
title?
library.
Yes, so probably it will partially make it green, the first category that you are referring to. If you are organizing events, if you are holding author talks, if you are conducting reading sessions, if you are organizing poster campaigns, when we become specific to environment, probably you can have, you already must be having a lot of books and references related to environment, climate change, forest, wildlife. A lot of positive stories that people would be interested in. Along with that, you can have authors specific to those environment and wildlife or forest movements or activities who have been writing and publishing books, who have been actively participating in ground activities. So you can invite them as part of your author speak or author interaction. Beyond that, you can have like poster competitions, or you can have different. There are a number of events related to environment and climate change or forest and wildlife declared by the United Nations, declared by the central government, declared by the state governments. So they celebrate those occasions, and those occasions can be used by the library as a kind of a opportunity to have more and more such interacting events, wherein students come to know about the genuine problems. See, what happens is that in most of the cases, people or students, they focus on the environment, they focus on the curricular aspect to score higher marks, right?
Correct. That
What
is in the
as
most
an
cases.
education institution, people in education is to make students understand and believe that environment and climate change or forest or wildlife or related tourism aspects, related subjects can be equally challenging and profiteering business models or profiteering job opportunities, career opportunities or academic opportunities.